guys, welcome to probably the last update video before the reveal video on this 2014 box stock community build of this Revell 1-25 Ford SVT Lightning F-150. Geez, that's a mouthful. Yeah, so yeah, another busy weekend on the bench. So what have we got here? So all this has been acrylic lacquered, and all I used to do the clear coat on that was just some of this. I've got a litre tin of this Bodytech acrylic lacquer. It's an automotive gloss paint. Yeah, and I've had this for years, and I've only just found it. I actually didn't even know I had this. I found it in the shed, and it's a really thick acrylic lacquer, and it sprays through the airbrush fine. You've just got to thin it out, probably 3, maybe 4 parts lacquer thinner to 1 part of this acrylic lacquer here. So realistically, I'm going to get about 4 litres of airbrush or sprayable lacquer through the airbrush with this. So I think back in the day I paid $21.99 for it. So yeah, that's going to be handy to have. So just if you guys are wondering how I did the gloss coat, because I actually done no videos on it. So yeah, it's all I've used to polish it out. I've just used some of this Mother's scratch remover here. That's just to get the scratches out of the fine sanding, and I've still yet to give it a wax coat. And what I'm actually going to use here is I'm going to use some of this Meguiar's high-tech yellow wax. Really nice wax too, guys. So I just bought it from an automotive store. They use my own vehicles. So yeah, that's going to be the final buff coat. And the colour here, I think I explained in my last video. I just mixed it up. I think it's like a 3-colour blend of enamel paints, and actually made up a fair bit because I didn't want to, because it was one of those random mixes where, you know, I just chuck a bit here, chuck a bit there. There wasn't no real recipe for the actual paint, so I've actually just put in this empty old Tamiya acrylic 10mm pot here, and it's already pre-thinned. So all I do, I've got to touch up anything else, or I've got any other builds coming up that require this colour. You know, it's got a little fishing sinker in there, and already pre-thinned, so it's just ready to go. And I've got a few little things to put in the engine bay here. I've still got the brake booster, which I've got to paint, which is this little part here. Like, I've still got to paint all that up. And I've got the part of the air system that's still got to go on the engine. Yeah, this is Humbrol semi-gloss, or gloss black, I think I used. Yeah, gloss black from Humbrol Acrylics. And that there was just the Tamiya tire rubber black, and then I just used some of the Vallejo model wash dark grey, and then just sort of put it in there and darken it up a bit. I might give that a semi-gloss coat on top yet, so I'm not too sure. But like I said in the posts on the Syndicate Styrene and on the ISM Facebook page, a few touch-ups to go. So I've also just got to do the lighting. That's just a test. I can, because it's lacquer base, I can easily get that off. But I was just trying a technique, and so I'm gonna have to try and find a better way of painting that lightning badge on there. Same with that side. Still got to buff that back out. I've only put that back on probably a couple of hours ago, so I still haven't buffed it out, but just given a very heavy coat, or three good coats of that Bodytech acrylic lacquer on the back there. And all the interior, I've just got a couple of decals to put in there. I thought I'd put the seats in there because they're actually quite easy. I can just get get these alligator clips and just sort of feed it in there with a paintbrush on the side. That's giving no drama whatsoever. So that's pretty much the interior all done. All the yeah, the interior done. Don't know if you can see it, but yeah, it's all been heavily washed, and all the door trims. You probably won't be able to see it with the light, but yeah, so I'm pretty happy how it came out. And remember too, guys, this is pretty much only my first real proper automotive build. So there are a few mistakes, and I am going to point them out in a second. I've done the same with the tray. I'm going to leave the bottom of the tub. At the moment, it's only one coat of gloss, but I think I'm just gonna do it semi or even a matte. I'm not too sure yet. Like, I've still got a few things to do. Got to give that another go and over. That's just Mr. Hobby Buffable Stainless. I'm gonna give that another coat and really polish it up. And then just the back of the lights here, which I haven't put the clear parts in here yet. Like, none of the clear parts are on yet. I'll do that very, very last. And that's just Model Air Chrome. And on the back here, so I've still got a Ford badge to do, still got the SVT badge to do. And that's also been treated with the scratch remover from Mothers, so that's just fairly bit of a shine. And the bumper, yeah, that Ford badge is painted on. That's not a decal or anything, guys, so that was just using Citadel's Necron Abyss, very thin down. It's one of the old foundation paints, so I thought, it's I don't want to build up the paint too much, because the actual raised Ford symbol, or the lettering, the text is very, very fine. So if I get it with one thin coat, it should be enough, and which it was. And then the all the chrome work is the raised stuff, and all I did there was, I'll get some light onto that. Hopefully it should shine up a bit better if I get that to focus. There you go. So all that raised around the Ford symbol was, all I used is here it is, still got it from laying around this morning. So all it was just an old cocktail stick, or toothpick, what do you want to call it, and I normally have a bag of cigarette filters in my drawer, and it's just, yeah, you just get them in packs of whatever they are in here. What are they? 140 filters, so you got 140 applicators per bag, and got a bit of chrome paint, dipped it in there on the palette, scrubbed a bit off, and then just carefully dabbed it using the flat edge, and then you sort of carefully enough you can get that in one sort of couple of 3 or 4 goes without using a paintbrush, and that works really, really good, guys. Well, you get the idea. And then we got the front of the inside of the bonnet under the engine bay, and that was just using what did I use there? Incinerated white from Life Color, and looks really brown, but I've actually got to dry brush some more incinerated white over there to make it look like a sort of a what do you call it, like a white clear plastic. And that's definitely a Ford thing, because all the Ford Utes over here, they have that same thing, but to me it looks like an egg carton. Like, in real life they're all domed and looks like an egg carton, so yeah, so that's what I call it, the egg carton. But I've got a bit of touch up my highlight down there, and all the brown wash in there is just using Citadel's Agrax Earthshade, and I love using these Citadel washes. Like, they're some of my favourite washes to use. They're just so easy to use, and they also tone down everything. They dry really nice, and so that's that part there. Got the mirror arms, like the mirrors, to do. They've just been treated with the acrylic lacquer as well. I'm really happy how that turned out. Like, the finish is just flawless. Like, there's no run marks. It just dries really quick. So I'm actually considering about using that as a new gloss coat for applying decals and washes and things on my aircraft builds now as well. It's first time using it, and just completely blown away on how glossy the surface is. It's really nice smooth finish. Yeah, so that's, and I probably won't even, I might give that a little polish, but it's not going to need much. And then the inserts for the windows or the mirrors haven't been painted yet. They're still sitting there. So what have we got left? So we've just got the clear parts. All the windows, like, haven't even opened them up yet. They're still in the plastic. And I've got, they're the inserts there, the glass inserts for the side mirrors. So they're just going to be like base coated black with a black primer. And then I don't know yet, I'll probably use some Mr. Hobby buffables, some stainless or something, just to really polish it up so it looks like a mirror. Don't know yet. And then I'll probably just put a gloss. I'll probably just run some clear parts glue in there to give it that real glossy, glassy look, and let that overnight to dry. And I've just got some decals to put on there. I got this thing, I don't know what that is. If you can tell me what that is, that goes on the front of the engine firewall. I'm not a car guy, so no idea. And they got the spare wheel cover. That's just Vallejo black primer underneath it, and then I just thought, well, bugger it, it's asking for black on the instruction. Color callouts, and then I didn't even put any base coat paints on it. It's just black primer and the acrylic lacquer once again, and it hasn't been buffed or anything. That's just yeah, that's just the lacquer on its own. So when I polish that out, that's going to look really nice as well. And I'll probably, I don't know yet, I'll probably give it a coat of dust paint or something and misty. I don't know yet. That's just, so I've sort of semi-weathered the chassis. And then to the chassis. Yeah, so we've got the engine block, and this is the mistake I made too. Like this part here, and I didn't read the instructions properly because I had, it's just my fault. The top here is actually, well, the front of this part here, if I can bring it in closer, it's supposed to go all the way to that pulley system, so you can see the gap in there. It's probably like a 3mm gap. Probably about a 3mm gap. So I've got to somehow pry that off, and don't know how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to have to try and pry that off and move that forward, and then the mess that I'm going to make here from trying to pry it off, I've got to try and clean it up, and so it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. So I didn't even realise that till later on, until I just didn't even notice it for some stupid reason, because when I put that on, and I was like, oh. Disc brakes, all the disc brakes, all the rotors, they've been painted with what I use there, Humbrol acrylics, aluminum, and then just a bit of what I use there, a bit of Citadel's Bad Ad black wash, and then a very light diluted layer of Life Color Diorama Series Dirty Grease Effects, and that came out really well because I used it around on the drive shaft in there, both in there. I sort of use it as a wash where the joins. I didn't want to use a black, I want to keep it as a grey, like an oily stain. And if it focuses alright, I'll try and get this to focus. And she ain't going to focus. But yeah, if you go on the, here you go. So if you go on Outback Mini Models, my Facebook page, there's some really clear photos of it. They're also on the International Scale Model Facebook page, and they're also on the Styrene Syndicate Google Plus page as well. So if you want some really clear photos, they're up. and just done some light sort of dabbing of metallics there, or silver, around the independent front suspension. Fuel tank. Okay, fuel tank was actually used dark iron from Tamiya, which is XF84. It's like a really dark metallic brown. It's one of my favorite colors that actually Tamiya brings out. I've actually got like 3 pots of it because it's just, yeah, I love it so much. And then let that dry, and I gave it a really heavy coat of Citadel's Bad Ad Black Wash, and then I let that dry, and then I used over the whole thing, I think it was it just the bottom? No, just on the top here, like on the above the fuel tank. I just gave it a good coat of the Dirty Grease Effect from Life Color as well, and then I just used the same thing with a bit of I think it was a bit of oily steel from Vallejo, and a dry brush, and I just basically scrubbed all around the edges just to give it that slight, I guess, that weathered look. So there's, like, it's not a heavy weather, it's like there's no real solid steel highlights on it. It's really faint, but the light seems to pick it up quite well. And done the same on the bottom of the diffs here, on the leaf springs, and I've got to sort of repaint all the chassis rails, yeah, just because it's been handled a lot, and I've got done all around the same, around all the mounts down here for the radiator, and didn't really bother too much on the top here because that's once the cab and that goes on, you're not really going to see it. And then so there's the radiator once again all installed, and then but saying all that, it actually went together quite well, so I'm actually quite happy with the way it's turning out. But the final reveal, or the final build, is going to be a different story, how it all goes together. I've done a bit of test fitting, it seems to go right so far. And then the wheels, were just using what I used, the All Clads Gloss Black Primer, base primer, and I used the Mr. Hobbies buffable stainless steel paint and just buffed it right up with a paper towel, let that dry, sealed it with the Model Master metallizer sealer, and then I used, because I didn't want black as a wash, I used this Vallejo Model Wash dark grey again, thinned down with a bit of thinners, and yeah, just sort of gave it a wash, and I just cleaned up all the excess with a Q-tip and a damp paintbrush. So really happy the way the wheels turned out. Like, it looks like a polished alloy, which is what I wanted. I didn't want a chrome look. I want like a polished aluminium, like for the rim. So the details just pop out of that. Yeah, and I've just got to obviously polish the rest of this out, and that'll probably be tomorrow once all the paint settles and let everything harden up properly, and I should be finished this probably by midweek. So yeah guys, thanks for sticking around and watching this update, and yeah, we'll finish off the rest of the model. And before I go, yeah, this is all I got left as well, just got a few little parts here, just got the windscreen wipers, we've got the top radiator hose, and got the bonnet, and so the bonnet's been sort of cut back with the mother's scratch remover, so you can see that there's a really nice shine on there, but still it's not, you can see the metallic flakes on the metallizer in there, so it gives it a slightly metallic grey look, but it's, I don't know if the camera picks up, there's a slight blue, like a light blue tinge to it too, which was what I was after. I wasn't after a grey or a black. I wanted like a metallic-y blue grey colour, something different. Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching guys, and now I'll see you on the reveal video. Thanks, bye, see you later.